Hi everybody, this is Eugene O'Loughlin and welcome to my series of short how-to videos. In this video, we're going to learn how to calculate Cronbach Alpha for liability. We're going to do it in Excel. I'm using the Excel version in Office 365. So before we start, let's take a look at some data and why we would use a calculation like Cronbach Alpha. Let's say I wanted to conduct a large survey of medical care. But before I do so, I want to test out my survey questions on a small pilot group. And in this case here, these are the results of the answers to my questions for 20 individuals. You can see I've got 5 questions, and respondents were asked to choose values between 1 and 5. So that could be very good, good, neutral, poor, very poor for each question. And it's rated on a 5-point Likert scale. And these are all their individual scores for each of the questions. So I want to be able to hopefully measure the attitude towards medical care. For this group of 20 individuals here, you would look at the scores for each item and see if they correlate with each other. You would expect that people who score high on certain items, for example, I like the quality of my medical care, would also score highly on similar questions, my medical care is worth the money. So Cronbach Alpha is a special measure of reliability known as internal consistency. So we're looking for consistency here. The more predictably individual item scores relate to each other, the higher the value of Cronbach Alpha, and the higher the value, the more confidence you can have that this test is internally consistent and correlates, our scores here correlate well with themselves. Now the formula for calculating Cronbach Alpha is here on the right hand side. So this states that Cronbach Alpha is equal to k divided by k minus 1. Now k is simply enough, that's the number of items. We've got 5 questions here, so k in both these places is going to have a value of 5. Now Cronbach Alpha is all about using variance. So S squared is the symbol for the sample variance. So S squared for y, that's going to be the variance of the total scores. So we're going to have to calculate in this column G here the total scores for each of the 20 individuals, and then calculate the variance of those total scores. And we subtract from that then the sum of the individual variances, that S squared for I, that's the individual variance. So what's the variance for question 1, what's the variance for question 2, question 3, and so on. And then we divide that once again by S squared y, which we already have at the top, so the same value is going in our formula twice. So the key to calculating this formula is working out these two values here, the variance for y, the total score, and the sum of the variance for the individual questions. So let's go ahead and plot these values. So we're going to put in a new column here, column G, and this is going to be my total score. And the total score is simply the sum of the 5 questions, so that's equal to sum, opening bracket, and I'm going to use my mouse to select these cells, B2 to F2 in my case here, closing bracket, and press enter. And I'm going to use Excel's fill handle tool here in the bottom right hand corner of the cell to copy that formula down for the remaining 19 individuals. So these are the total scores for all 20 individuals, and let me put a line in underneath that. And we now need to calculate the variance of these 20 values. So to do that, I'm going to use Excel's built-in variance function. So that's equal to var.s is the name of the function, opening bracket, select all the values here, all 20 values. So in my case, I'm selecting values from G2 colon down to G21, closing bracket, and press enter. So the variance for the total scores is 6.67. And that value is the value for S squared y. So the variance for y is the total variance of the total scores. So that value, 6.673, is going to be inserted into my formula in 2 places. Now let's work out this part here, the sum of the individual variances. So line 23 here, I'm just going to put in a new value. So this is going to be called variance. This is the item variance, let me spell it correctly. And I'm going to use the var function again, so this is equal to var.s, opening bracket, and I'm going to select all the individual responses for question number 1, closing bracket, and press enter. So we can see that the variance of for question number 1 is 0.365. And again, I'm going to use the fill handle tool to copy that over for the remaining 4 questions. Now the value I want, you can see it's the sum of these, so I need to add all of these values up. So that's very straightforward. I'm going to put it underneath the other value here. That's equal to sum, opening bracket, and select all of these values, closing bracket, and press enter. So now these two values, which I'm now going to highlight, just put a yellow box around them, these two values here are the values that go into our calculations over here on the right hand side. So let's see how this might look. I've got this prepared over here already. So this is going to be our values put in. So our k is 5, so 5 divided by 5 minus 1. That's going to be multiplied by the variance for the sum of the scores. That's 6.674, and we can see that that's here the first of our yellow values, minus 5.126, which is the sum of the individual variances, and we divide that by 6.674 again, which is the variance of the total scores. So I'm going to, let me put that in the center here, so Cronbach Alpha. I'm going to build up this formula here, so this is equal to, and I like to use brackets to make sure precedence is right, so I'm going to do the first part first. So opening bracket, 5 divided by 5 minus 1, which is 4, of course. I'm just going to put that in here. Divided by 4. And then that's in turn is multiplied by opening bracket. I'm going to put two brackets here to make sure I get precedence right. 6.674, so that's the value in cell G22. We can see that we need to subtract the value in G23 from that. Closing bracket, we're going to divide that by the 6.674, that's the value in cell G22, closing bracket, and press enter. And we can see that we get a Cronbach Alpha value of 2.89826. So I'm just going to double click on that again so you can see what the values here are. Pause the video at this stage so that you can figure out where each of those cell references are coming from. So our final thing to do is to interpret. What does this value mean here? So let me just highlight that as well. So what does an alpha value of 0.289 mean? Well, with our Cronbach alpha value, we really only want two things. The first is we want the value to be positive and not negative. So we've got a positive value, so that's good. However, reliability coefficients that are as large as possible. We want them to be between 0 and 1, and we want the interpretation to be as straightforward as possible. So values close to 1 show high reliability, values close to 0 show quite low reliability. So here our value is quite low, so therefore we could conclude that our questions here, that there isn't high correlations between them, the reliability of our questions here is not good. And that could then tell us in our pilot study that we may need to revisit some of our questions. We might have to make our instructions standardized and clear across all settings. We might need to increase the number of items or observations so that we have more questions in a test, delete unclear or ambiguous questions, or there may well be errors in questions going back in. So with a low value like this, in this case here, we definitely have evidence to go back in and revise the questions before we roll the survey out to a wider audience. So that's how you conduct Cronbach Alpha test for reliability. I hope you found this video useful. Thank you for your attention.